Well, Stephen, I think it's just sad that you can't find anything to do these days.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, really, you Raiders, E.T., and Poltergeist, you must have been working on all three of those projects at the same time.
They all overlapped. Post-production on Raiders overlapped with pre-production on E.T. and Poltergeist. And E.T. and Poltergeist overlapped in the editing and in the dubbing.
How do you keep all that separated?
I just learned a great lesson. I will never do it again. I will space my movies out like air traffic controllers at most airports today. 5 miles between 747s.
But in the final analysis, I have not seen Poltergeist yet, but I have seen E.T., and it doesn't seem to have suffered from lack of attention.
Oh, thank you. Well, I give everything my attention. I gave Poltergeist as much attention as I gave E.T., but both films essentially helped each other in the production end because both films take place in suburbia. And so the sets were very similar, and the houses were almost exactly alike, and it was like going from one studio to the next, going from one suburb to another suburb. It was a very interesting experience for me, because those are my roots.
Stephen, let's talk now just for a second about E.T. and the little figure E.T. itself, the alien. Did you go through a process of many sketches and many designs, or did you just take the first one?
No, E.T. evolved like anyone from proto-human to man today. You know, he really had a wonderful evolution. At one point, I wanted him to be thin and Giacometti, and then the next, I kept thinking, well, he comes from a lot of gravity, and I bet he loves to eat. And I thought, you know, I think he'll be easier to take into your friendship, take into your heart, if he's not angular and like pipe cleaners, but if he's much more like a toadstool, like a little fat, roly-poly creature.
Squashy is the description.
Squashy is the description that Michael uses about E.T. in the movie. He calls him a squashy guy.
Yes.
And he is a squashy guy, but E.T. did evolve right up until his first steps.
What are his dimensions, really? Height, weight, etc.
Well, his driver's license says, his driver's license on his spaceship say that he's 3 feet 1 inch tall. He weighs about 45 pounds, which might seem light, but I figure he comes from heavy gravitation, but he is not substantive. He's not filled up with a lot of matter. Quite frankly, he's probably a cross between an organism like a creature on Earth, like a human being on Earth, and a plant. He's probably a mixture between a plant and a person. And E.T.'s eyes are blue.
And he can blink.
Well, he's alive. I mean, he's alive.
We, of course, realistically, we know that he is mechanical, but he does have such human qualities. How did you get the mechanical thing to have so much emotion and different emotions?
Well, the first thing I had to convince myself of was that he was not mechanical. And I did a very good job of convincing myself that E.T. is really a creature. I believe that he's a creature. And everybody who essentially gave him life, breathed life into him, also never for a moment looked upon E.T. like a cyborg or like a synthetic creation. To all of us, he was really there. He was acting. He interacted among the children in the same shot. He didn't require special photographic attention. He didn't require optical, magical matte, effects later in post-production. We saw he performed along with the cast members that day, and the next day we saw him in dailies, just like one of the members of the cast. He ate, he drank, and he slept. And I have never looked upon E.T. as anything. I think he's more human than human.
You know, Stephen, at one point, well, a couple of points really, with the arms and the hands, I began to wonder if he wasn't a mixture of an actor and a contrivance.
Well, the magic of E.T. is very, very complicated. There's a lot that went into creating, E.T.'s life on Earth, and but he does mix occasionally, but most of the time, he is a total creation.
Some of the hand stuff is really a hand with...
Sometimes not. Sometimes the hands are part of E.T.'s magic, and sometimes they're not.
Okay, let's switch now to Poltergeist. As I told you, I have not seen Poltergeist yet. But everything I hear about it, people say that jaded press people were sitting there scared to death.
Good, because I made the movie to scare everybody to death, and now that I've done that, I won't make any more scary movies. After Jaws and Poltergeist, I'm through with scary movies. Thank you very much.
Do you think it's scarier than Jaws?
Well, Jaws is a different kind of fear. Jaws is something that we all know exists. We all know the sharks exist, and some of us believe the sharks do get up to 21 feet, the great white shark. So that's about something that is in the world today, and we all swim in the ocean. But not many of us have had poltergeist or ghostly experiences in our homes. People believe these things exist, and the movie essentially works on your belief in the supernatural. I believe in everything, so I'm easy. I'm a pushover. A lot of people don't believe in everything, and I had to make this movie scientifically convincing as well as horrifically convincing to draw you into the reality of this suburban ghost story.
Stephen, do you think, though, that Poltergeist might be too scary for some people and some children?
I think Poltergeist is too scary for some children, but I think that's why the film is rated PG. Nobody dies in the film, so we didn't get an R rating. The film is very, very intense, and it's very, very terrifying. It also has some moments of great humor. I think that young children might have nightmares if they see the film, but that's, of course, responsible parents. It's up to them to say to their kids, if they can control their children, you shouldn't go see this movie. I've seen it. I think it's too scary for you. But who knows today? When I was 10 years old, I was afraid of everything, which is maybe one of the reasons I made Poltergeist. I took all my fears, childhood fears and phobias, and put them all in one movie. Now I don't have to think about myself anymore. But I think kids today are stronger, and things don't scare them as much as what scared me when I was that age. So it'll be interesting to see. I didn't make the film to force American children into bed with their parents, but if it happens, it'll just bring families closer together.
One last question, Stephen, and that is, if you were making 1941 over again, would you do it any differently?
Yeah, I'd do it for $10 million instead of $30 million. I would drop 6 of the 7 storylines, and the movie would be about the dancer, his USO girlfriend, and the climax would be the big dance contest, and that would be it.
And you think it'd be a big hit?
No, it would still fail.
Stephen, you're delightful. Congratulations on a really fantastic film. I think E.T. is going to be the hit of the year.
Oh, knock on wood.
And you needed another hit after Raiders. You needed that, didn't you?
It never hurts.
Stephen, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure
Good to see
meeting
you.
Seeing you again, actually. Yeah. Do you want to do cutaways and things? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, Bill. Steve.
Okay, questions?
You're very good. I should use you in a film.
Okay, all right. So, Stephen, you were working then on E.T. and Poltergeist and Raiders all at the same time. How did you keep all that separate? Let's talk a little bit about E.T. The alien E.T. Is it totally mechanical? How did you get this mechanical being to register so many different emotions? As far as dimensions, what does E.T. weigh and what is this size? What are E.T.'s dimensions? At one point, Stephen, I actually thought that E.T. was a combination of an actor and a mechanical being. True? Were the hands and arms a combination of a human and the mechanical thing? Okay. Do you think Poltergeist is too scary for some people and some children? Okay. If you were to do 1941 over again, would you do it any differently? Does anybody remember any other question I asked?
No, you really cover that.
Okay. All right, I guess that'll do it.
Great.